where a lot of the Bitcoin bandits and Ponzi schemers who have blockchain will be greeting him there because they've been given a place on the island of Puerto Rico, which is a tax haven, a shelter, where they're out of sight, out of mind, and all the politicians, like the crooked Suarez from Miami, who's under investigation himself. Isn't that amazing? You have Suarez under investigation in Miami, the Republican who was promoting Bitcoin, and Eric Adams, who is promoting Bitcoin that is nothing more than crime coin. And now all of a sudden he's raising the flag of Puerto Rico today at Bowling Green again. That needs to be fully investigated, Justin. There's a scam going on there. And everybody who has a tax sanctuary there for blockchain, crypto, Ponzi scheme currency, and Bitcoin, which is no more than crime coin, will be there to applaud the mayor and throw money at him. Hopefully it'll be in Bitcoin, which is just about worthless. But let's get on track, because now this mayor who cannot chew gum and think at the same time, who declares that he could have only one press conference a week for off-topic questions, assembled all of his deputies. It's like an army of them, led by his promoted deputy mayor of public propaganda, Fabian Levy, who really runs the press conference, because Adams can barely read the information placed in front of him. Because naturally he's got to be careful. He's under so many investigations. He stumbles and mumbles when speaking extemporaneously, so they figure, hey, stick to the script, Adams, because you are falling and you can't get up. So he brought up the situation of Brianna, who he claimed originally was his number one fundraiser at the age of 23 when he was running for mayor, that he had actually trusted her with all the fundraising. He raised about $18 million. Somebody who before that was an intern at Borough Hall when he was the Brooklyn Borough president. Nobody believed it. Then all of a sudden the FBI raided her location while also conducting 12 other raids. You heard that exclusively here on the Rip and Read. You didn't hear it anywhere else. On that very same day. And afterwards, when the mayor decided to abort his meeting at the White House about the illegal alien invasion, and he came back, never talked to Brianna, he said, hey, you know, she was the greatest fundraiser. She'll continue to be the fundraiser. And we're providing her with an attorney. The same firm that is giving me an attorney as I lawyer up will provide her with an attorney. And then suddenly yesterday, a change.
With Brianna, she's no longer doing fundraising for the campaign. I'm not going to go into personal conversations. And, you know, this is, as we said over and over again, this is an active review. And the question was asked, is she still fundraising? And I said no to that.
And that's because the news is not good for Eric Adams. He thought this woman who claimed that she was the goddaughter of Ingrid Lewis Martin, who is his Rasputin, his Svengali, would remain loyal. Apparently, Justin, she listened to what I said. Remember when I said to her, get your own lawyer. Lawyer up, because you're going before a federal grand jury and they want Eric Adams. But they'll take you. And as a 25-year-old, they'll put you in jail simply because every time Eric Adams had a fundraiser, you were not the fundraiser. You know that, Brianna. I know you're listening now. Come on, be honest. Tell them what your job is. Be honest with the grand jury. You would accompany Eric Adams to the fundraiser. You carry the booster bag. People would write the checks. You would take the checks. You would deposit it in the booster bag. You would go back to your home/office on Lincoln Place in Crown Heights that was raided by the FBI. You put out the spreadsheet like an accountant. You took all the deposits. You went to the bank. If any of them bounced or, they didn't clear, you would then call up the donor and say, hey, there was a problem with your check. That was simply your job. You shouldn't have to go to jail for this. So she's going to be testifying before the grand jury, and guess what? She now has her own attorney. See, Justin? She listened. She does listen to the Rip and Read. Take that, Eric. And then, of course, she's got a lot of female problems. The other one was on Thanksgiving Day A woman that he knows, he claims he doesn't know her, who had worked in the Transit Police Records Bureau at the same time that he worked for the Transit Police, filed a notice to claim that she wanted to sue him for sexual assault. So yesterday, he started to address it before Corporation Counsel cut him off, and I'll explain to you why.
I don't recall ever meeting this person, and I need to be clear on that. And so, this is something that the process is going to take its place.
He doesn't recall ever meeting this person. Yeah, Justin Ellick, just the day before. What did he volunteer to all of us? What was his role in the Transit Police when I told you he was a house mouse? He never left the precinct.
You can look throughout my career. I'm a tech geek. I was a computer programmer as a transit police officer.
A computer programmer who would be in the records division, because all the records which were on paper from years before had to be transferred to probably at that point a floppy disk. Would you agree? I'm not a computer expert, but probably onto a floppy disk. So I would bet you this woman, who other people know, but the media refuses to name her, who is now apparently teaching down in Miami-Dade County, was working almost side by side with Eric Adams as he was preparing the computers. He was computer programming, never patrolled. He basically acknowledged he was a house mouse and worked in the records division because that's where this woman worked. She probably was taking all the written files and then handing them to Eric, and then they were trying to figure out on the floppy disk how to file them on the floppy disk. So, A, he's lying. And immediately, Corporation Counsel, who was sitting up there, Lisa Zornberg, decided, don't sink yourself, Eric. That's why I'm here.
Let me just add to that. Neither the mayor nor the city have been served with the summons that became public, I think, on the morning of Thanksgiving. No complaint has been filed.
Okay, this is how this works. P. Diddy has been hit twice, right towards the end when the time ran out, the window of opportunity to sue for sexual harassment, sexual assault. The Survivors Victim Act that was signed into law by Kathy Crime Wave Holcomb, and everybody applauded that because it was meant to get President Trump with that woman with three names. What was her name? Collins, I forget what. They gave Alvin Bragg an opportunity to file a civil lawsuit for rape and sexual assault against former President Donald Trump. They got him on all the other charges, not the rape. And then fine them $5 million. That's the reason that case went to court. Well, like a boomerang, it has come back to hit Eric Adams. It's hit Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. We'll discuss him later on. It's hit Jamie Foxx. It's hit P. Diddy twice, and a whole bunch of others. But in this particular case, you got to understand, these attorneys didn't just file at the last second, like, well, let's get it in before the window closes. No, they reached out to these individuals' attorneys, whether it's Eric Adams, whether it's P. Diddy, that's Benjamin Braffman, whether it was Jamie Foxx, whether it was Cuomo, or whether it was Adams. And they basically said, we're prepared to file unless you want to settle, which is all legal. This is what lawyers do all the time. Some people would call it a shakedown and extortion, but if it's lawyer to lawyer, it's considered a settlement. Let's see what's happening now. I would bet you that somebody on behalf of Eric Adams, it might be Frank Carone. That's the guy who's raised. He's the fundraiser. He's the big money guy. Might be actually negotiating on his behalf with whomever the attorney is on behalf of the woman that everybody knows in the Adams administration, but the media won't mention her name. Apparently, she's teaching school in Miami-Dade now, and did work with Eric Adams in the transit police. I think he needs to nourish his memory. You think so? What do you think? You think he needs to nourish his memory as they try to settle this case out of court, so it doesn't become another dagger in the back of Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, who's going down, down, down,